Can I ask you something, Ethan?
Yeah.
You really believe that?
Yes.
Yeah.
You really think the mainstream comic book market is dead?
Yes.
I believe that. I do.
Because
here's
why I ask you that.
Okay.
Because I've been doing this for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in the 90s, people saying the same thing. And the one thing that I've learned about my experience with the comic book industry is that everything is cyclical. It comes back around. Like comics get really hot, then what's the next step? They get really cold. And so I think we're in a slump right now. I think that comics are cooling off and that people aren't buying them as much. I think we're seeing a really weird thing happen where comic book movies are super popular and everybody's lining up to pay to go see a comic book movie, but they're not buying comic books.
Yeah.
And I think there's things that these comic book companies could do that would maybe circumvent that or make it better. Like maybe offer, you buy a ticket for a movie, you get a comic book in your hand when you walk in the theater. I don't know why they're not doing that.
Or make a book that is remotely the level of quality as the movies, and the movies are already dog food.
It doesn't matter. I mean, the reason why the comic book industry is dying is because 4 years ago there were 2,236 comic book stores in the United States.
Right.
Now there are 1,800.
Yeah,
okay,
but
now there are 1,800,
but is that also the result of ma and pa retail everywhere dying? It doesn't matter what the industry is.
Yeah, but that's reality. See, the thing about it is that things are changing and people no longer want to get in their car, find a comic book store that might be 20 miles away, drive to the comic book store, have to interact with human beings, buy a comic book that's $5 on the cover price, and it ends up being content that might insult their politics.
Yeah.
So there are a bunch of different aspects of why this just is no longer a sustainable model. And what we need to do instead is we need to adapt to the fact that the society has changed into a sit-at-home, point-and-click, not interact with human beings society. That is what we need to do. Comic book stores right now, because of the direct market, are the only means for people to get the comic books that they want in print. And I'm sorry, but even though people thought that digital was going to be the future, it isn't.
I looked at the chat. Why did I look at the chat?
Don't do that. Don't look at the chat.
Mark, that's a general rule.
I say one minorly opposing view, and it's this
Mark,
guy.
Mark, have fun. I say read the chat, but have fun.
Yeah. The chat calls me fat every 5 seconds.
Well, okay. Let me ask you this then, because you brought up comic book stores. So you guys are trying to produce a model where you put the books directly into the hands of the consumers, which I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But if that means that comic book stores are going to go away completely, do you want that?
No, it's not that I want it.
No.
It's just that this is necessary. Right now, we're fighting against political forces that are forcing us. I mean, literally, we saw with Jawbreakers the fact that comic book stores will get together and collude to keep us out of comic book stores. It's not that we want it; it's just reality because many of us are Trump supporters. Many of us oppose social justice warriors. We find ourselves in a position where we can no longer expect to be treated the same way that other people are treated within the comic book industry. So we've had to circumvent that and find another way. Now, it works to our benefit. At the end of the day, I mean, look, putting comics zero pipeline distribution from our hands into the customers means that we get 100% of the profits. And we can do this any way that we want to. This is the future, Mark. Selling comics less frequently, more substantially to a smaller audience for a higher price is the future of the comic book industry. And that is sad. That's true.
So do you think that, trying to figure out how to word this, do you think that people that have an opposing point of view, do you think it's that they don't understand you, or do you think it's that they just don't like you? What do you think is the real answer there?
Both of those.
You think it's both?
Well, you can, Mark, see, here's the thing. You have an opposing point of view, but you and I can sit here and talk. I don't think you're an ideologue. I don't think you are a social justice warrior.
Well, no, I think the second we stop talking is when it's all pointless. I mean,
you also, Mark, you put questions out and asked them with an open mind. That is also proof that you're not an ideologue.
I think we have to be able to have open discussions, because if we don't, then none of us are going to succeed.
Mark, we all of us could get along and we could ask each other questions all day. It'd be fine. I'm saying that's not in general what we feel from other parts of the industry is not what's going on in this room right now. We're all cool.
Paying attention to the Scott Kurtz discussion. I mean, but look at Doug's own friend. And I sort of drag you back into this, Doug. He couldn't say that Doug shouldn't be able to make should be able to make a living and hold his personal political or religious views. He couldn't defend that idea. And it's that mindset where it's like, hey, you know what?
Which Mark are not Nazi or alt-right. It's I'm a traditional conservative evangelical normal American guy representing about probably 40% of America. If I'm considered like a complete circus freak,
well, you have the hair.
Yeah, besides my hair,
your hair is not helping.
The hair's not helping. If I'm considered a complete circus freak by the mainstreams of the indie comic industry, then where am I supposed to go? Like I always thought comics were for geeks. I was an outsider. I was the kid picked on by the football team. I was a geek. I was going to go draw. And now I found there's bigger bullies from the dorks in comics.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's so true.
Or worse. And
okay, so can I throw this out?
Yes, sir.
Because I know that you guys feel bullied and picked on, and I'm not disagreeing that there is definitely some of that goes on. Do you guys feel like you, or perhaps maybe your fan base, does a lot of that too?
No, I think that it's culture war, and I think that right now on the internet, there are people who are fighting, and you have to kind of. It's impossible to say who's the bully and who's being picked on in every single case. It's not a matter of which side is right. Definitely, I think there are people on COMICSGATE's side, people who align with COMICSGATE and believe in what we believe in, who are saying things that I don't approve of. But on the other hand, the SJWs in this industry are able to platform and utterly destroy somebody's life and career. Whereas COMICSGATers in general don't have that ability.
I cannot destroy anyone's career on the other side. They can easily destroy mine with 3 guys going after the studios that buy my work.
Mm-hmm.
Can shut my whole career down, keep me from making. I'm right now off COMICSGATE. I'm doing $188,000 on one comic book.
189, Doug.
I'm sorry.
You're $85,
which is shocking. It's shocking to me. Or I can go beg in Hollywood and play their game and just get completely demoralized, have to apologize for my lifelong religion, my adherence and loyalty to Jesus Christ. I have to apologize to a bunch of angry, furious leftists
who want you dead.
Even my friends, these are my friends, Mark, who've said, why do you think you should be able to make a living and be vocal in America about your religion? Yeah. Is that what comics stands for now?
Well, no. I'm not saying those people are right for saying that stuff. Of course not. I've always kind of made it. This is where I think we differ the most. I've always sort of made it a policy to not discuss politics or religion or things like that because it's going to lead to that. It's always going to lead to that.
Here's the thing, Mark. People on the other side are open and free to speak their mind however they want with absolute, disregard. And they have nothing happens to them. Nothing.
And with a shocking amount of profanity.
Being much of a left winger. No one.
There is some double.
A quarter century we've been working our asses off in this industry, and we can't get work now because we're vocally right wing.
Okay, I mean, there's probably some truth to that, but I also know there's people that are conservative Republicans that are still working in comics.
Mark, it is not. You don't understand. I'm a conservative Republican. I'm telling you, we are hanging on by a thread. hanging
I
on
don't
by
know
a thread.
any conservative Republicans that are vocal
And,
about.
I
Well,
don't want to jump you because I think you get to live on your side. I have a wife and 4 kids in that room over there who I have to make a living for. And for 30 years, I put out better animation and comics and video games than any other fucker in this business.
Go ahead, Doug.
I'm sorry. This is not you.
No,
This
Doug,
is
feel
I'm
it.
talking about them.
Yep.
No,
Don't
I
take
get it.
personally.
Dude,
Family,
it's not even close. It's
Family
not
should
even
come
close.
family should always come first. You're
It's,
right.
I don't mean family first. I'm just saying I want to be able to be myself in America and say, remember when America, it was okay to say, I'm an evangelical. Mike and I may not even like Mike. I don't care. It's Mike should be allowed to say, I believe the earth is 6,000 years old without losing his fucking 20-year comic career.
Mark, feel this and don't take it personally.
Yeah,
No.
Mark,
Go ahead.
you got bigger balls than anyone else for coming on this show. I'm just saying, bro.
No, Mark's a super good guy.
But I want you to hear from my heart where we're coming from, because it will change you when you hear it from our side what it's like. It is not like, hey, you guys will just get along. It is not like that.
No, I get it. I do.